The Parkland school shooting has again been in the news, and I've been reflecting back on those events. Here's an open letter that I wrote at the time. On the same day the school shooting happened in Florida, I found out that someone from my high school church group had died. We weren't best friends or anything like that, but he meant a lot to me. He was kind to me. As a kid who spent a lot of time growing up being bullied by classmates, even a throwaway act of kindness could be a game changer. I found myself on the forming edge of history a few times in my 27 years of teaching. I was driving from Casper to present at a national NCTM conference in San Francisco when Columbine happened. I was staying at a bed and breakfast run by a retired Jewish couple. The wife was a survivor of Auschwitz and other concentration camps. She was speaking at a Holocaust memorial dedication that day. We talked for hours, both of us needing to process the tragedy in our own ways. I knew teachers from Columbine. Some of my students lost cousins in the attacks. The granddaughter of a friend of mine was the first person the shooter encountered on his way into the building. He told her to get out because she had been nice to him. I was in Laramie with students when Matthew Shepard was attacked. I remember one of them saying to me, "I heard that kid was a faggot. He deserves to die." He was an enormous ranch kid who had been sent to my school for attacking another student and ripping his scrotum off in a fight. Yeah. As a closeted gay man, I was scared. As a teacher, I knew I had a teachable moment, and I found a way for him to see what he had in common with Matthew Shepard. When he got back to Casper, he became a fierce protector of the one gay but not really gay because there are no gay people in Wyoming. That kid at the school? Did he suddenly embrace homosexuality? No. But above all, at that school everyone had been rejected, and it formed a common family bond. He might be gay, but he's one of us, and we don't let anyone mess with one of us. Yeah. My school was an interesting place. Most of the schools had what we would think of as every disadvantage, but they were family, and that extended to the teachers. One of the most impactful things students ever said to me was, "Mr. Kohl, we care about you, but we may not always be able to protect you." They went on to teach me how to use my car as a defensive weapon if I was being attacked. You might have to run one of us over, and we need to know that you'll be able to do that. What they were saying was, be prepared to act. Don't die because you need to. Live because you have to. You can't help anyone if you're dead. And that was 20 years ago. Fast forward to Sandy Hook. Adam Lanza's diagnosis of Asperger syndrome is front and center of every discussion. Less so is the anxiety and depression that plagued him. I started to think, how did I end up as a high school teacher and not a high school shooter? After all, I fit the profile. I'm smart. I'm a white man. I'm a strong introvert. I never fit in socially and was bullied. I had an emotionally abusive father. I'm Asperger. I'm gay. I have issues with anxiety and depression. I even had a personality inventory done as part of a graduate class that labeled me as INTP green. The person administering the test pulled me aside to tell me that I had the personality type most common to serial killers. Now, to be fair, I also have the same personality type as Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, so don't put too fine a point on it. I understand how these young men think. It's a unique skill set. exhaustively wanting to analyze every detail, intellectually analyzing the social interactions that others have intuitively, trying to understand, and trying to be understood. The skill set itself is neutral, and it's important to remember that. The same skills that made Mother Teresa a saint got Bernie Madoff thrown into jail for creating a Ponzi scheme. The very skills that make me a unique, creative, and introspective teacher made some of these others terrifyingly effective mass killers. So what was the difference? I had a mother and grandmother who cared about me and never allowed me to wallow in my difference. I was special, but not special. They taught me how to understand others' perspectives and how to make my perspective understood. It isn't the responsibility of others to understand you. It's your responsibility to be understood. But I also had teachers who cared about me and let me know that I mattered to them. As important as any of them were people my age, like the person from church who got me thinking about all of this, who accepted me, included me, stood up for me, or were just nice for no reason at all. Not a lot, maybe, but there were enough. One of the things that worries me about the discussions that are going on now around gun control is that it kicks the can up the road, becoming another proxy war against politicians. Not that I'm not in favor of gun control, and not that I don't think politicians need a wake-up call, but we all have to be wary of self-righteous finger-pointing. We have to be careful to not absolve ourselves of owning our actions by saying that our safety is someone else's responsibility. School safety doesn't start in the legislature. It starts in the school. It starts with simply being nice to each other, caring, including, taking the time to understand someone who is different. It starts with making sure that students with cognitive differences are supported and not stigmatized. It starts with making sure every student's mental health is a priority. You can't make rules about that. It has to become part of the culture. Schools need to be a safe home, not just for those who fit well, but also for those who challenge us to grow and be our best selves. A former student, now teacher, shared a strategy with me that I think is a good one. It's called 3 for 10. If there's someone you don't feel like you connect with, find 3 times a day for 10 days that you can interact with them outside of where you would normally see them. In other words, not in class. They don't have to be long or even particularly meaningful interactions. No agenda, just 3 interactions. It works. It's absolutely true that we need to share the peace more. Pray for someone's happiness that you don't particularly like. It gives you a stake in their well-being and makes it much harder to not like them. Never underestimate how one small act of kindness can reverberate 30 years later. Peace.